Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here once again. Thank you so much for liking my videos, for sharing, for viewing them. I do not take that for granted. Thank you so much for the love, and may you keep subscribing. May you please subscribe and share and click and like on this platform. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for the comments. And a special shout out goes to Hypoglycemia, wherever you are. Thank you so much for supporting me, for motivating me. I love people like you who push me to bring out my voice. So today the topic we are going to talk about is common terminologies in about diabetes. So there are basic terms that you would have heard of or you had never heard of. Actually, this would have been the first video I would have made before bringing out other videos, so that my viewers are able to understand what I'm trying to put across. Now, the terminologies of diabetes, there are few. You can be having the condition or not having the condition, but at least you have some basic knowledge about diabetes. Now, first of all, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 14, and that was on 14th October 2006, and I've made 18 years living with the condition. This year, still on 14th October, I'll be making 19 years, so that is my diaversary. Now, that is the first time I've given you. Diaversary is the day you celebrate the time you were diagnosed with the condition. So every year, every individual who has that condition celebrates that diaversary. And in November still, there's also World Diabetes Day. That is the day we celebrate the community of individuals living with diabetes, their success stories, and definitely every year they have to bring out a theme. So this year I haven't researched about the theme, but I'll be checking out those websites. And then another thing I would wish to tell you, a disclaimer actually, I'm not a doctor or a medical practitioner or a physician or an endocrinologist, physician. No, I'm none of that. I'm just an individual who has lived with the condition for 18 years. So basically, the information I share here in these videos is basing from my personal experience as a T1D. So the first terminology that I have talked about is diaversary. Now, what is diabetes? Basically, diabetes, it's an autoimmune condition that is non-transmissible from one person to another, and it is basically gotten from lifestyle factors, hereditary factors. Basically, those are the two. So your lifestyle will influence and bring in that condition to you. So to my colleagues who love booze and taking lots of junk, you are at a high risk of having this condition. But I'm not discouraging you from taking it. Actually, I'm advising you, if you have the resources, you could go to the hospital, do a medical checkup and other tests connected to diabetes. So there are different types of diabetes that I personally know. There's type 1 diabetes, which I'm sick of, and it is also commonly known as diabetes mellitus or juvenile diabetes, and this is a condition that is so common in children and young adolescents. Yes, and the medication that you get at that time, since it is for the juvenile, you have to take insulin shots. Yes. Then there is type 2 diabetes, which is so common in adults. Adults, I mean, like from the range of 45 years and above. Yeah. And the medication they get, for them, they take tablets. So then there's the third type of diabetes, which is also called gestational diabetes. That is normally gotten at the time when you're pregnant. But I'm so familiar with type 1 diabetes. So basically everything I would say on these videos, on each video, I want you to get that point. I'm just saying things based on my personal experience as a T1D. So now the next terminology I would wish to talk about is something called insulin. Insulin, it is what helps your pancreas. Okay, it does like the work of the pancreas, because by the time you get T1D, your pancreas is not functioning. Then when you have type 2, you have insulin in your pancreas, but it's not enough to regulate your sugar levels, so that is why they give you tablets. Yeah. Now for my condition, my pancreas is just there. I have to use insulin shots to get, that is how I administer my medication. And insulin, we have different types. So when I was diagnosed with the condition 18 years back, I was put on Insulin and Actrapid. Then 3 years after, I was put on Mixtard. Now I have, good thing I have some of these products, and I'll show you how they look like. Now this is Actrapid. This is its packaging, and this is how it looks like. It's so colorless, like this. And this one, I take 2 shots in a day. That is in the morning and in the evening. I take 5 units, by the way. This is what I use to administer the injection, the medicine. Yeah. So we use syringes, and syringes also have different types. This one, it's written on BDU 100 insulin 0.5 ml. Yes, so that they are very different. So whenever you go to purchase or get them anywhere else, you have to also be lenient about that. And then next we have what they call an insulin pen. Now insulin pens also come in different types. I think there's also Insulin, Actrapid insulin pens. I'd ever used an insulin pen of Mixtard. So last year now I was put on an insulin pen of Lattice Solo Star, and I want to show you how it looks like. This is how it looks like when the insulin is inside. Now this is the insulin. This is the amount that I have used. So this could take me up to like 3 days. Yeah, this is what is left. And when it is done, this is how it looks like. Something, there's still some little insulin. I could as well use it, but this is how it looks like. Yes. So these are the insulin pens. I just wanted to show you how they look like. This is how they are. Next terminology that we have is something called a glucometer. A glucometer is a machine that you use to check your blood sugar levels, and they have different types. So this is AccuCheck Active. This is how it looks like. and it is the one that I use currently. And so what you do, you prick, you get a lancet. The lancet is this, something like it's this. So a lancet, you use it to prick your finger, then you put your blood sample here in this green point, then you put in the machine, and the machine will take the readings, and that is how you check your blood sugar levels. Now this, I've forgotten the name, but this thing, basically it is what you put on an insulin pen. It is what you see here. Yeah, this, because you also have to replace these needles once in a while. So that is all about the insulin pens and glucometers. And still on the glucometers, I'd say there are different types. Now this is another type, it's called Sinocare, but I used it for few days. Sorry sorry about that. I used it for a few days, and this is how it looks like. You can see that's the cotton. This is how you store it. Actually, before, the AccuCheck Active also used to have its packaging like this. I think they just adjusted and changed it. And also another thing about the AccuCheck Active glucometer, you see now the advanced one, it also has this point where you can connect your USB and also connect to your laptop, and you can do an analysis. So yeah, about your blood sugars, everything. I think I never tried it out, but I know this is what it does. This is the new version of AccuCheck Active. So these are glucometers. I'll show you the glucometers of Sinocare. No, they are still there. So for Sinocare, they are a bit short. They are shorter, and this is the packaging. Yes, and there we are so good to go. So, and as I said before, the storage of these the insulin, you have to use the refrigerator method. The local method, you could use the traditional one. You get a metallic container, put in sand, water, then after placing in the water, this is how you place in your insulin. It's supposed to stand like this in the container, and then you put that container under the bed. So it is also advisable to do it like that in case you're traveling, like let's say from uptown to down to up country, and it's also convenient. That is when you do not have any form of refrigeration method. So that is the local way you can preserve your insulin. Yes, another terminology that you could hear of is something called a blood glucose tracker. Basically, it's just a book where you write your blood sugar level readings, the measurements, the food that you've taken, everything. When it sparks, you know what brought it. When it lowers, you know where that issue came from. Yes, that is the blood glucose tracker. Another terminology, there's something called diabetes food, and that is an effect caused by not having your sugar levels in range, and in most cases it causes it causes you to lose your foot. You are in that position. When you're in that position, they just chop off your leg and the feet. So that is what they call a diabetes foot. Then another terminology that you may hear about, something called hyper and hypo. Hyper is when your blood sugar levels are up. hypo is when your blood sugar levels are low, and these conditions come with different effects. So how you know your blood sugar levels are high? For my case, how I know my sugar levels have gone extremely high. First of all, I'll feel thirsty, I'll feel dizzy, I will feel let's see, funny smell in my nose. Yeah, like it's so like acidic, sort of. Then I would also frequently, like I'll be going to the toilets and the urine you're passing out is sugary. Yes, if you test it. Now that is one local way of you can check how your blood sugar is high. Just get a small thing test. That is your own urine. You want to know your condition you're in, so what are you going to do? So just do it like that. That is how you can determine that your sugar levels are out of range. Then another thing, it causes the high sugar levels cause eye blindness, like your eyes are affected. That is something that happened to me years back. That was when I was diagnosed, but I didn't take so much care. Like I didn't over go like to the hospitals to get any kind of treatment, but I was later affected just when I started working and being on a laptop, so it affected my eyesight. So it is either because of the laptop or the diabetes is one of those conditions. And as you grow, diabetes also comes with other challenges. Now, there's also an issue of forgetting. But I would kindly, I'm not here to scare you, but it is there. Diabetics forget, but it is better. You can use traditional method like taking rosemary, which I also do, and yeah. So don't be surprised when you see me forgetting to do some things and you'll be like, hey, what's wrong with that, babe? That is exactly what happens. Another way you can identify your blood sugar levels being high is when you get mood swings. Yeah, like there's a way you feel like you have so much anxiety, like you're confused, like you're so not normal. Yeah, that is what happens. Now we are going to go to the signs of knowing your blood sugar levels have dropped. Now they have gone below the normal sugar levels. The normal sugar levels are from 3 to 7. Then if you have diabetes already like me, I shouldn't be exceeding like 10. 10 would be perfect for me. So when you find yourself in a condition where, first of all, you're getting nightmares, when you wake up, you are sweating, you are shaking, you are confused, you can't speak. Like for my case, one time it happened to me. I was still I think in form 3, so I was at home and my blood sugar levels dropped in the night. I think I had overdose in the evening and I slept off. So to wake up in the morning, I was moving and I hit myself on the wall. I fell down, I wasn't speaking. So like the people around me didn't know exactly what to do, but I do not blame them. I just thank God that He touched me. I was able to speak the word sugar as like sugar. And immediately when they heard the word sugar, they quickly rushed to the kitchen, got a cup of water, put in the sugar, and they had to force me to drink it. And that is when I got back into my normal range. That is when I gained my senses back. So, and it is most doctors say that it is better to find your blood sugars high than being low. I think it's basically because of the side effects. Because even your blood sugars have completely gone down, you're dead. At least the blood sugars, when they are high, it is so much easier to identify. Though in most cases the blood sugars drop like during the night, hours from midnight to 3 to 4. That is when you experience that kind of state. So the way you bring back your sugar levels up is by taking something sweet. That is why we are advised to move with glucose, snacks, anything in the bag as you move on a journey or anywhere else. Yeah, so that is how you differentiate between hypers and lowers. Okay, another terminology that you may basically hear of is like advocacy, but I think everyone is familiar with advocacy. So we have so many advocates, we have activists, we have now, like myself, I'm an advocate. I'm on the advocacy level. Okay. Then I'm a blue circle voice under International Diabetes Federation. Now, the good thing with IDF, it's an international organization that supports individuals living with diabetes. They have different different positions they give people. You can either become a blue circle voice or a young leader in diabetes, but I've also seen you can become a fellow, an IDF fellow, or an IDF senior fellow. Yeah, depending on the rank you're in. And the good thing with also blue circle voice, it is not necessarily for people living with diabetes. You can as well be a caretaker of someone with diabetes, or someone who's just interested, who has a passion of talking about diabetes issues. You can as well join. So you can check out their website. Everything that I'm saying is there, and more things are there. So another thing I would wish to talk about is concerning the diabetes foot. We are normally advised to wear socks, avoid tight shoes or heels that make you uncomfortable, or anything just that will bring like a wound on your foot, any kind of scratch. So for my case, basically full time now I'm wearing socks. If I'm not wearing my shoes, I would wear socks. And I would advise others to wear socks, because once you get a diabetes foot, it is so painful. You get multiple surgeries, and they will have to cut off your foot, to cut off your leg. It's not good. It's not a good condition. Yeah. So sometimes you may feel pain on your knee or the feet. So I kindly encourage everyone who is out there viewing this video, you can as well go to the hospital nearby you, and you can carry out these tests. Check your blood sugar levels, check your kidneys, check your you see how the nerves are in your body and everything. So last year in May, I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder. as I was saying, last year in May 2024, I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder. I think, and I had 7 admissions in 6 hospitals in a period of something like 6 months. So I was put on therapy, and